Don't you just hate it when your joint pain keeps you from sleeping? Hey everybody, this is Mike Erdelob again, and you're on another episode of Power Your Life by Flex PT. Don't you just hate it when your joint pain or inflammation or just something going on with your body is keeping you from sleeping? It's keeping you from fixing your hair. It's keeping you from just putting on your shirt. Some of those simple things in life, when that joint pain keeps you from like going downstairs or walking, or you start finding yourself, you just start finding yourself altering what you do in day-to-day life because you start working around this problem that you have, you start finding out alternative ways to still get the job done. Or worse yet, every time you go to reach or lift for something, that pain just gives you that reminder that you're not a spring chicken anymore. Anyway, I hate it when that happens. And the biggest thing for me is I hate it when it limits my sleep. When I can't get a good night's sleep and I can't sleep through the night, I don't know about you, but that just absolutely drives me nuts. I mean, I've really noticed it in the last couple of years that I've got to get my minimum is 7.5, but I shoot for 8 hours every night. I'm telling you, if you can ask my wife, if I don't get a minimum of 8 hours of sleep every night, or that 7.5 to 8 hours, I am a bear. I mean, I'm no fun to be around. I'm just telling you, I'm a pretty likable guy most of the time, unless you ask my employees, they might tell you a different story. But I'm telling you, if I don't get that sleep, I wake up the next day and I can't focus and I'm irritable. It's like I get up on the wrong side of the bed. And when you have a joint issue, and I don't care if it's your back, neck, shoulder, knee, elbow, whatever it is, and it causes that same problem, it interrupts your life and it just makes you miserable. And you can't seem to get around it. And you do like all of us do. You start taking some medication, you start doing things to try and alleviate it, and sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. And it just, you just want to find a solution. You just want that problem fixed. And you just want to feel like you did, before all that started happening. And so I want to tell you a little story. I want to kind of tell you a little bit of what happened to me and why I'm talking about that. Now, many of you that have been following me for a while, or that may have been coming into the clinic, you know that last year, it has now been actually a year and 1 month, actually a year and 6 weeks. So 58 weeks ago, I ruptured my right bicep, and I ruptured it off of the elbow. And I can show you. I don't know if you can see, but that is that's the scar from where I had it fixed last year. So the problem was, so when I ruptured that, you have to have surgery because the tendon ball, it just boom pulls up. And it's just all balled up, and I just started having problems with that elbow. Now, I'm right-handed, okay? So when you surgically repair a tendon, they got to go up there, pull that thing down, and then they got to reattach it, down it to the elbow, is the surgeon will cast you. And, you've got to cast that arm in a position where the tendon isn't being pulled on. So if you're talking about your elbow, that means your elbow's got to be casted at about 90 degrees. So I was casted from the end of my hand all the way up to my shoulder, okay? And I was like that, I was like that for 6 weeks. Now, I'm right-handed. So guess what? My left hand had to learn to do everything. I mean, I had to learn how to type with my left hand. I mean, you name it. How to fix my hair. The biggest one was if you wear contacts, try putting your contacts in with one hand, your non-dominant hand. I got really good. The first time I did it, it took me 45 minutes to get one contact lens in. I'm not kidding. I got really good at it. Well, Yeah, basically what I'm saying is my left arm had to do all of the work. And so I started lifting and reaching and pushing and pulling and putting my contact lenses in and, dressing myself one-handed. Try figuring out how to button your pants and pull up your zipper and, button your shirt. And hey, wiping your butt. Try and do that with your non-dominant hand. Just try it and see. So it's hard. Anyway, so this elbow, my left elbow started acting up. And it's just one day I remember I reached out and I was grabbing my my work bag, my computer bag, and I just grabbed it and lifted it, and it was just I'm not kidding you. This was this searing pain in right in the point of the elbow. Now I knew, I know enough that I had tennis elbow, and I know that it was overuse of my left arm. And I just had to gut through it because I didn't have any other option. My right arm was all locked up. Well, eventually got the cast off. Eventually I went to a brace. I rehabbed it, and I got all my motion and strength back in that right arm, and I became right-handed again. Well, this pain, this was in the end of April. April 30th was my day of my surgery last year. And so I still had this pain. I was in around November, December timeframe. I still had the worst tennis elbow. It was really, really sore. And I was treating myself. I was taking the naproxen, the non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. I was doing self-massages. I was icing it. I was doing all my elbow and my wrist, strengthening and stretching exercises, everything that I knew to do. And it wasn't getting better. I was even massaging it. I was having a massage therapist really work that out. She was doing some active release techniques and stuff. And it did help, but the pain still persisted. And it was keeping me up at night. And it was just making me a bear. When you walk through a doorway, you just bump your elbow into something? Oh my gosh, that was a killer. I couldn't even, it just drove me nuts. So not sleeping, it was super tender. Even though I was right-handed, you still use that left arm for a lot of things. And I was just, I was fed up with it. And that's when, I actually decided to try something. And I had actually attended a wellness conference where we learned a lot of different nutritional changes that you can make in your diet. And I had already made a lot of these when I lost weight, a few years back. But I thought, well, let's take it to the next level. And I made a few key changes. I started following intermittent fasting, which not only is a fantastic way for you to lose weight, and it normalizes your blood sugars, and it does a lot of really great things. But I started doing that. And then I learned how to alkalize my diet. And we'll talk a little bit more about it here in a minute, but I made some of those key changes. They really weren't that hard. They were just key changes in what I was eating. And then I stopped eating some things that really weren't helping me. Because I knew I had this chronic inflammation, irritation at this tendon. I stopped doing all the other treatment, I didn't do any of the other stuff because it really wasn't fixing the problem. I just focused on these dietary changes. And what I noticed was within about 2.5 weeks of doing that, almost 3 weeks, the pain was less. And I noticed it when I was at the clinic one day and I walked through the doorway again, misjudging the doorway, and I just kind of ran my shoulder and elbow, kind of bumped into the door jamb. And I was like, that didn't hurt as much. That was weird. And I stopped and I started poking around. I'm like, wow, that is like really, really less tender. And I hadn't done anything different. I'm like, the only thing was I changed, some of those changes in my diet. So I'm like, man, there's really something onto this. Within about 5 weeks of making those dietary changes, that tennis elbow was gone. The pain was gone. I was sleeping through the night. I could reach, lift, push, pull with the left arm. When I bumped into the doorway, because obviously I can't judge my space very well, it didn't hurt. And it led me to this it led me to this discovery that really clicked for me. And what that is the key to healing is what you eat. That really, there's nothing more than that resonates that with me than, if you have knee problems, back problems, whatever you have, the inflammation levels in your body are keeping you from getting better. And what you put in your mouth and what you eat is key. And this has been proven because I've started doing this with some of my clients, and it's amazing at what it does for them. So it's all based around raising your pH. You see, when you are eating a diet that has a lot of acid-forming, inflammatory type foods, which that's really what the standard American diet is all built around. If you're eating a lot of carb-based, if you're eating a lot of processed foods, if you're eating a lot of sugar, if you're drinking a lot of alcohol, if you're not eating your vegetables, just like my mom used to say, eat your vegetables. If you're not doing those things, your pH is actually dropping. Your body is becoming acidic. If you're overweight, your body is acidic, okay? So the acid levels in your body really influences the inflammation markers, which influences and changes how fast you can heal. And that's one of the other discoveries I realized is if you do not address your nutritional needs in healing, you are going to have a very hard time at getting better. And this is why so many times you try and do all these treatments, that doesn't solve the problem for you, because that's the one key piece that you're missing. And I can't stress this enough. And this is probably the thing that's hardest for all of us to understand is in our society, we want that quick fix, right? We just want to, hey, give me that pill. I'm going to take that pill and it's going to solve my problems. That's not how your body works. I'm sorry. I'm here to tell you, if you can't make some of those changes, you're going to have a really hard time healing. You're going to be in chronic pain. You're not going to be sleeping through the night. You're going to be crabby. You're going to be irritable. You're not going to be any fun to be around. You don't want to be that person, So making some of those key changes can make all the difference in the world, and it really did for me. And, it all centered around, I'll just give you a little overview of what I did. I just started following intermittent fasting. I made my last meal no later than 8 p.m. I did not eat again until noon, okay? Now, that lowers and stabilizes your blood sugars, which is tremendously helpful in healing. That also causes, when you have that gap, that 16-hour gap in your eating, it causes a greater release of growth hormone in your body, which your body needs that growth hormone to stimulate the repair of collagen fibers. Collagen is the building blocks of your body. Your discs, your ligaments, your tendons, your cartilage, all of those things are built off of collagen, and it can be improved on by growth hormone being released in your body, which happens when you follow that timed eating. Then the next thing I did is I eliminated sugar, I eliminated carbs, processed foods. I cut those things out. The other thing is I cut dairy out. I just stopped drinking or eating any, I had a little bit of cheese, but, yogurt and milk and those kinds of things. They are acid forming foods. I got rid of them. The other thing is meat, okay? Meat in the form of beef, chicken, and pork are some of the worst acid forming foods that you can take for your body. Now, you can still have meat in smaller amounts. Focus more on seafood and fish and those kinds of meats. And you can still have some of the others, but just limit the amount, okay? Focus more on the vegetables. That was the other thing I started doing, was really up my vegetable. So I would do at lunch when I would first eat, 12 o'clock, I would have salad, I would eat some tuna, and that was about it. I made sure I had adequate water intake, at least 2 to 3 liters of water per day. Then you avoid snacking. I didn't snack throughout the day. And then I would eat a meal in the evening time around 6:30, 7 o'clock. And again, it was vegetable. About 80% of my plate was vegetable and 20% was a meat. Sometimes it was salmon, sometimes mahi-mahi, sometimes tuna. I'd still occasionally mix in some of the red meat and some chicken and pork. I just kept it in small amounts. And then I would make sure that I didn't eat anything after 8 p.m. I made sure I supplemented good micronutrients, a good multivitamin, focused on also getting a good joint supplement. So I maintained the cartilage health in my body. And those key changes, that's really all I did. It's so simple. And once you alkalize your diet, your pH starts to come up, your inflammatory markers start to come down, your body can actually heal itself, okay? So if you want to try this, take it in small bites and do little pieces at a time. So right now, what you can do is just drink water, okay? Water, coffee, or tea. Stay away from soda, stay away from any of those hidden sugars. They're not doing you any good. All of that stuff isn't helping you any anyway. So just focus on water, coffee, or tea. Just drink that for the next 3 weeks. Then avoid the high concentrated sugars, okay? Processed foods. Cut the carbs out. Go low carb. All right, make that change. Then the next is avoid dairy products. Just cut it out, Don't eat the yogurt. It's full of sugar anyway. Stay away from the dairy. If you're getting yogurts for the probiotics, go out and purchase a good probiotic. There's a ton of them out there. That's going to be far better for you than just eating the yogurt, okay? If you want to do a little bit of cheese, that's okay. Be careful with that though, but really, really limit that dairy. And then the biggest one is follow the 80-20 rule, okay? 80% of your plate can be veggies and 20% should be meat, okay? Make those changes. You're going to be amazed. Do that for 3 weeks. You can do anything for 3 weeks. I'm telling you, I'm talking from firsthand experience. You guys, this will do dramatic things to help your life. And not only that, is it going to help you lower your inflammation levels, you're going to lose some weight too. You know what? That's an added bonus. So if I can drop a little weight, I can now sleep through the night and my pain's going away. Oh my gosh. Hallelujah. I'm just like ready to dance, when you get like that. So there's a quote that I want to leave you with. And, that quote is, "Let food be thy medicine, and let medicine be thy food." And that was a quote from Hippocrates. And that's so very, very true. I think today we've really forgotten about that. So if you're struggling, if you're having problems with, any pain or irritation, make those changes to your diet. I'm telling you, it will help. Hey, just a reminder, next Tuesday, we're going to be live again, 1 p.m. So until then, you stay healthy and keep moving forward. We'll talk to you later.